So hello again, everyone. We finally started. I have with me now Ivan Mrvoš, CEO and founder of Include. Thank you, Ivan, for joining us today. And well, this evening we'll be talking a bit about Include. I'll be asking some questions about your story. Of course, Include, it's not your first time raising funds with Funderbeam, and a lot has happened since the first. So hello again, everyone. All right. So we'll get started with a bit of a kind of introduction by Ivan about Include, what you do, what the story behind the company is. And later, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post the information in the chat section. In the meantime, we've already gathered some questions that we're eager to ask you, Ivan. So the floor is off to you.
Great. Thank you, David, for the introduction. I hope that everybody can see me and hear me well. Actually, I had to close the Hopin because I don't know why, but I could hear you on both applications in the same time. So anyways, thank you all for joining. I know that it's late afternoon and probably most of you had maybe a busy week. I don't know. Maybe some of you are already in the vacation. But let's jump on Include and our latest financial promotion and funding round. So yeah, as David mentioned, this is our third fundraising round, and I'm sure that well, most of you heard about how our story started with a solar powered bench back in 2015. And I think that we did quite a lot of things in the past. It will be almost 8 years in a couple of months, so that's really a long time. And you know how people say that you made success overnight after 10 years, so it will take us two more years, I hope so, to reach this success that everybody's talking about. But yeah, we started with the benches, and it was quite a journey with Stiora in the last 5 years, 6 actually now, and we managed to sell more than 1,700 of them, counting those sold in this year. When we are talking about the first generation of Stiora that was sold from 2016 until the end of the last year, and some units that were sold this year. And we managed to sell them in 59 countries, and this was really a great experience for us. And what we did is we started building a big partnership network globally. We started building customer network, started working with some really big cities and municipalities globally. And after the last investment in 2019, we started shifting this story from Stiora to a bit wider smart city portfolio. I think that it was obvious already 2 years ago with the last investment round, with the A investment round, that we are not planning to stop on the benches, and benches really are a nice and cool product. But there was always, I would say, something more that we were expected to produce and to design. And the benches are really nice business, but it's a nice business if you want to be a startup that makes 1 or 2 million euros per year. But I think that we want to be a bit more than that. And our focus started shifting into a direction of designing a bit wider portfolio of smart city solutions. And that's how last year we actually introduced Terra waste containers. And this year, a month ago, we introduced iris air quality monitoring devices. So we are now expanding in this I would say smart city playground that is pretty huge, and there is a lot of different companies trying to do a lot of different things. But I really feel that with our experience gathered in previous years with Stiora, that we have maybe found something that most of other companies didn't when it comes to this smart city, and this is actually how to really approach as much as customers globally as possible, because every country is a completely different story, and every customer obviously is a different story, because we are approaching in the same time to a small municipality with 2,000 inhabitants and to a big city with 2 or 3 million. So you need to have a pretty good pitch and a pretty good technology that can be easily implemented in both cases. And this is something that I believe at the moment not many companies understand how to do it, and I really believe that we do understand. And I think that this year already shows that this is really a good story, because in the same time, literally this year, we had big clients like a city of Rome, and in the same time we were selling to some really super small municipalities. So I think that with the new products and with this change in our business model, that we are now building pretty good foundation for future results. Yeah.
All right, very well. So one of the things that's always been striking of Include is you have sold your products pretty much all over the world, and which kind of begs the question how you go about marketing your products and how you go about actually identifying new products to develop. So can you talk a bit more about your marketing strategy and how this has taken you to the point that you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the very beginning, maybe in 2016, we didn't have some big marketing strategy. We were actually just selling, and then because we were a small company from Croatia and it was pretty cool product, and back then I was 19 years old, everybody liked the story, and that's how we actually started building this marketing in PR here in Croatia locally. But what's pretty interesting with this product, the product by itself, it's marketing. The main reason why is because once you install it on some location, like let's say the benches, and in Croatia, when you have like 100 or 200 benches and you have people during summer vacation using these benches from other countries, this is actually the biggest marketing that you can get. And when you have people from other countries using your product, and some of these people are, I don't know, managers or owners of some bigger companies in some other countries, they like the product, they see opportunity maybe to sell it in their countries. Also, a lot of people that are majors in some other cities across the globe saw our products, and this is how the most of the marketing goes globally. Obviously, we do have marketing campaigns and strategies how to find the customers, how to approach them, how to make them interact with our products or website or some other things. But the shift with the new products is oriented in such a way that we are now more like solution selling, and it's a bit different marketing strategy that's going to happen in the future. Because obviously at the beginning, when we were going to the meetings with the cities, the meetings were really simple. We have a solar power bench that can charge a phone, can provide the Wi-Fi. Do you need it or not? And that was it. And I think that with the new products, especially with the platform, with the Solos platform, the thing is changing, because we are now going with a bit different strategy to the meetings with our customers, and the meetings are now looking more like in direction where we are actually trying to understand what problems do our customers have, and then to see how some of our solutions could solve these issues. Is it a problem with waste management, or they are just lacking the infrastructure or people that could actually collect waste? For instance, what we learned in the past year in big cities that have a lot of tourists is they don't have enough people that can actually collect the waste. And we are not solving their problem with compacting the waste as itself to lower the costs, but we are actually solving the problem that they don't have enough people and infrastructure to collect the waste. And then in the same time, in some other cities, we are solving the problem of the waste collection and the cost of the waste collection. They have maybe too many people and want to reduce this number of people by buying our TerraWaste containers. And then similar goes with the new benches. Obviously, we have redesigned them from the previous model, and now through our configurator, cities can actually create more than 250 different configurations of the benches. So this really fits perfectly any location and any situation. Somebody has, I don't know, growing needs in micromobility trends. They have a lot of people using e-scooters, e-bikes. don't have where to charge them, this is something that we can take care of with our benches. I don't know, some other cities have maybe issues with pollution or want to provide more transparent information to their citizens about air quality in their neighborhood, but don't want to invest 300,000 or 400,000 euros in air quality stations. This is something that we can resolve with Iris air quality stations. And then on the top of all of that, there is a Solos platform that actually solves problems that cities do have, and these cities have to manage all these devices, how to control all these devices. Because previously, and this was also the situation with our old benches, once the city introduced some new solution, usually this solution brings its own platform to control it, to read the data from it. And then cities just at one point have 10 or 15 platforms for different solutions. It's really hard to manage all these platforms and devices. So what we actually decided to do is, as a first step, we wanted to integrate all our products to one central hub, to one place where actually cities can control all our products, can read the data from them, can export APIs to some other locations. And what we are now doing is actually we are integrating third-party solutions to our platform. So for instance, maybe city already has somebody for waste management, that's okay, but they can still use our platform to manage these containers that they have. And this is actually additional value that we are providing to our customers. And this is also something that for the first time opens possibility for us to make annual recurring revenue from this platform. And we already have customers that are subscribed and are paying for using our platform for their products. Yeah.
Okay, so the revenue streams basically isn't just from the sale of the product itself and installation, but also from the recurrent use of using that product. But in terms of the units themselves, these would be owned by, is it the municipalities, or you would still be owning them and renting out the infrastructure to the municipalities?
Yeah, so our business model until recently was really, really simple. We had only one-time asset purchase, so cities would buy the product from us, and that was it. With old benches, we had pretty basic platform that was completely free, so they didn't have to pay anything to use it. But with introduction of new solutions, with latest investment fund round and everything, we started shifting the business model as well, or better to say, how we actually sell our products. So we will still keep the one-time asset purchase if city wants to buy 10 benches, 50 containers, or maybe, I don't know, 100 Iris air quality stations. But in the same time, they will have some other possibilities, so they can also lease these products if they want, and the lease period is going to be at least 4 years. And at the end of that lease period, the cities can either completely buy out the product for themselves, or they can just lease a new generation of our product and return the old product. And I think that one of the biggest value is not only in the software that's going to make annual recurring revenue, but also in this refurbishment of the old products. This is something that we didn't have with the old benches, and this is one of the biggest issues for, I would say, most companies in smart city field, because it's really hard to refurbish product that was used on the street for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And when we started designing these products, we were really thinking, how can we make them as refurbishable as possible at the end of their lifespan? Because this way, not only we are really saving the environment, because we are generating less waste from these products at the end of their lifespan, but also we are putting ourselves in position where we can, with the refurbishment of these products, maybe open some emerging markets that don't have the same buying power as, I don't know, Germany or UK or some other country does have. So what we are going to see in the next couple of years, not at this point in time, but in a couple of years, is that all Stiora benches and Terra and Iris that are going to be sold through the next few years, at one point the customers, maybe not only customers that have the leasing, but also that bought the products, will want to maybe trade in the products, the new one for the old, and we will have possibility in our office to refurbish the old products and then put them on the market again as a new product. Is it going to be on the same markets or maybe to the same customers that we actually bought them from, or maybe some other markets as a refurbished product? But this also opens one completely new revenue stream. This is something that we are already trying to do this year and for the next year with all Stiora. So already now we have started with a trade-in program where existing customers can trade in old Stiora benches for around 300 to 500 euros, and they get like a coupon, and with this coupon they can actually buy any of our new products, and we are just cutting the price for the amount that we bought from them the old product. And then we are actually not throwing away old benches, although we don't want to market and sell them anymore, because they are obviously how to say, they're just not providing the features that the new benches can provide. But we still see some big opportunities, let's say for some countries in South America and in Africa that are really interested in instilling the old model of the benches, and we are actually planning to refurbish the old benches. They will be a bit more simpler than they were before, and then resell them on those markets. So this will already generate additional revenue through the next year, because a lot of customers are interested in returning the old product, getting the new one as a part of trade-in program. And then we are obviously not selling the refurbished bench for a 2,000 euros price tag. We are selling it for a 1,000 euros price tag, but we are still making more revenue than we would make if we would just throw the old bench on the waste. So yeah, there are really different opportunities to expand our sales model and revenues in the coming year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In terms of so obviously, you've talked about kind of developing the products to fit more of what municipalities would need, but how did that transition come? Did it come from, let's say, experience and analysis in the market and realizing that there's a gap where you can fill, or did it actually come from the clients that you have which needed products that go beyond smart benches?
Yeah, so I understand that some investors do have concerns, maybe why Include started approaching waste management market if this is something that we literally knew nothing about a year and a half ago. And the same question may arise now with Iris. How we see this situation is, obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning, the benches are quite nice business, and I think that this business is going to keep expanding in terms of revenues and number of sold units in the future years, especially with these new redesigned benches. And we can see already now this year we have a situation where we literally cannot deliver what's being sold. So we are already now at this point in time having order book full until the end of February, more than 100 benches to deliver that are already sold and are not going to be, unfortunately, delivered this year. But how we see the situation with the products is that we, at this moment, we have more than 550 cities and municipalities globally using our products, our benches. And these same customers are the ones who are buying waste management solution, air quality solutions, street light solution, parking solution. And one of the biggest problems at the moment is that there are really not enough companies that could offer a whole solution to the city, because cities are unfortunately picking and buying different solutions from different companies, because usually there is not one company that can offer everything. What we see from our experience with working with big companies like telecom companies, for instance, we had a big contract with Deutsche Telekom for the past 3 years that was covering more than 60 countries, is they have this vision that they could collect a lot of different companies such as ours and have a lot of different smart city solutions inside of their portfolio and put all of these solutions under one platform that they are actually trying to build, and then they are just collecting through the API data from all of us, from our platforms, into their platform. So to me, what it seems to me is there is obviously the reason why telecoms see something in this, why they think that cities would actually buy the solution from one company. And this is something that we also see that's going to, it's not only going to start happening, it's happening already now. So for instance, for the city of Rome, we didn't sell only benches, we also sold air quality devices. So the cities really are trying to find one integrator that can offer them a whole solution, the whole package for their city. Because especially smaller cities and municipalities that are lacking infrastructure, you can imagine that, I don't know, here in Croatia, we have a municipality that is by area second biggest in the country, but it has only 4,000 inhabitants. And in the whole municipality, there is 4 or 5 people working. So obviously, they don't have enough infrastructure or knowledge to implement solutions from 10 or 15 different companies. But they still need waste management solution, and air quality solution, and street light solution. And for them, it's easier to buy it from one provider instead of trying to integrate 5 or 10 different providers in the same time. So this is something that we see as opportunity, and this is why we have developed these 3 products for now, but we will keep expanding the portfolio of our products after I would say a bit bigger funding that we are hoping to have through the next year. So with this funding, we need to scale this existing business. We need to overcome the current challenges, really global challenges, I would say, as a chip shortage that we are working on now, and this whole disturbance in the global supply chain. And then when the things grow enough with the existing solutions, and when we actually, I would say, show that we can sell Iris and Terra, not only the benches, and that cities are using our Solos platform as their central hub for our products, this is something that will actually help us to reach the next funding, and to then after that funding to keep expanding to new products. Because I mean, from the beginning, we have positioned ourselves as an R&D company, and most of money that we get from investment goes to R&D, and we already have all the ideas in the pipeline, but we just don't have enough resources to make them happen at the moment. Yeah.
Of course, you touched a bit upon the chip shortage, but obviously it's besides you. There's been other companies on Funderbeam and obviously around the world that have faced similar difficulties. And I wanted to touch upon the challenges that have been faced, particularly over the last couple of years. Is the chip shortage kind of the main reason for, let's say, maybe why sales has not been executed as much as it was projected? Are there any other challenges that you kind of face regularly in new markets or even existing ones?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. So we have I would say we have a pretty specific situation at the moment, and I know how from the investor's perspective this could look like. We had pretty great 2018. We made more than 1.2 million euros in revenues. That was a huge year for us, only with all Stiora benches, and that was a big thing. And at that point, I would say that we have reached some kind of a maximum that can be sold with the old benches. Obviously, we could still keep growing in terms of revenues, but with the old benches that had limited features and limited technology, it was not reasonable to expect that they can scale to 2, 3, or 4 million euros revenues per year. And that's one of the reasons why we have firstly decided to redesign the benches, because that was our core business at that time. And then in 2019, we had 1 million euros in revenues. Obviously, yeah, we did have investment round in 2019, but it was in the second half from 2019, and it really couldn't help us a lot to streamline the revenue in some huge numbers. We made 1 million euros in revenues. unfortunately, last year, 2020, COVID year, I don't know if we had 50 products in our portfolio, the same thing would unfortunately happen. So what happened at that point is we had almost 12 people in sales after the investment round, and we actually had even showroom offices across the Europe, where our sales team had meetings in January and February. And then March started, and then COVID started, and then the lockdowns started, and then nobody did nothing for 6 months. And literally, it's really hard with cities and municipalities. Most of them didn't work for months. Literally, you couldn't have meetings with them because of the lockdown. You could not travel, and in a B2B sector, it's easy because everybody knows how to use Zoom, Skype, and everything. And in B2G sector, it's not so easy sometimes. And then we started really working hard in second half of the year when the lockdown stopped a bit. And yeah, I would say that was one of the biggest reasons why last year we had around 800,000 euros in revenues in total. Regarding this year, I think that we didn't have problems with COVID per se, but we did have problem with some other issues that started showing up because of the COVID. So the chip shortage is one of these situations. Unfortunately, what happened is that some factories literally stopped working and they were not manufacturing the chips. And in the same time, people were at home and they were buying everything, all consumer electronics they could buy. And then you had a situation where demand for chips is super huge and production is super low. And then the prices started skyrocketing, and at one point you could literally buy nothing. So we have a few of our suppliers in China, including company that is actually producing the whole electronic parts for us. And this is one of the biggest companies globally that has more than 80,000 clients. And at one point in time, we could buy literally nothing. We were actually buying to save this whole year. What we did is we were buying our electronic without some parts, and then we were even buying some other like kids' toys, electronics, and then we were removing the chips from the kids' toys and putting them on our products just to deliver. So it was, I mean, from the perspective of big companies like the car companies, you can see from their perspective, they now have more than 10 months in deliveries from the moment you order. But obviously, they have enough of capital to survive this situation, and we couldn't just sit and wait to see how the situation is going to resolve. So we really tried to do anything we could just to ship. And I think that this year, we probably, if we could deliver everything that was sold, we probably could have around 1 million euros in revenues, maybe even more, because a lot of our partners would make new orders and keep selling. Unfortunately, some partners are now waiting for more than 6 months on deliveries. But what we did in the last 2 months is we started preparing our R&D and production for introduction of our own pick and place equipment. So what we want to do now is, we don't know when this situation with chip shortage is going to end. It can end in a month, it can end in a year, nobody knows it. But we started with one really small investment in an equipment that can actually help us to produce these electronic boards in-house. Well, this is something actually that we didn't expect to do at any point in time. We really believed that we could do it, outsource it with companies in China or maybe even somewhere in Europe. But really, the situation at this moment is we try to contact several companies in Europe. And for instance, one electronic component that in China costs around 5 euros, in Europe costs 25. So we really cannot work in this way, because our bench can have 10 to 15, even 20 chips inside, and this is a huge price difference. Obviously, we did increase the price of our products for 15%, and also for all additional equipment that can be bought with our products, also the price will increase it. But what we are trying to do now is we actually did this really small investment in production capacities in this pick and place equipment, actually the assembly line for producing the electronic boards. And what we can do with this is we will just start buying components like chips and other passive components from any supplier that has them available and do everything in-house. How this actually differs from what we are doing up until now is, until now we would buy from our supplier in China 80% of the electronic board already done, and then the 20% would be done by hands here in our production. And when you're doing something by hands, well, first of all, it's really expensive because somebody is doing it with their hands and you're paying that person. And then second thing, you have big quality issues because one small chip, 5 times 5 millimeters, has more than 48 pins. So it's not really easy to solder it by hands. And what we want to do now is with these machines, if we have electronics that is missing some parts, we can actually just do it with a machine. It's going to be much faster and much cheaper and much easier and with better quality. But we are not stopping there. What we actually want to do is, if we see that the things are developing as we planned, that they are going to develop, then we would actually completely move this whole assembly in-house. So we would just buy completely empty electronic boards and just assembly all components in-house. And this is something that is currently the bottleneck of our production. And when we resolve this, we will actually have opportunity to produce around 60 to 70 benches per month with existing number of people inside our production. Yeah.
All right. So in terms of with, let's say, assuming that you're able to streamline the production process, how long would the sales cycle take in that case then? So compared to what they're now.
Yeah, in that case, actually, the first thing that would happen is once the customer order, we could deliver in 3 or 4 weeks. At this point, like if somebody orders today, the shortest delivery date is April probably. So that's going to help us a lot. And then this will actually open opportunity for our partners and distributors as well, because the situation now is that they could probably sell a lot more, maybe 2 or 3 times more, not all of them, but some of them. But the thing is that they are not receiving upfront payments from their customers, but they still need to pay something to us upfront, because obviously we cannot handle that much of financial pressure by ourselves. And then everybody is trying to play a bit safer. You know, they cannot risk to buy 15 or 20 benches from us and not to have them delivered, because the city could actually just break the contract with them and not buy anything, and they already paid for the benches. So that would be a pretty big mess. So everybody was playing safe through this year from our partners. And I think that at the moment when we actually resolve these production issues, or better to say, when we actually can deliver inside of 1 month from the order date, that the situation is going to start changing. Well, first of all, it's going to change because we will first of all deliver everything that we are late with, and that's more than 300,000 euros in revenues from the existing products. And then to start having and accepting new orders. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking only about Stiora at the moment. We are not talking about Iris in Terra. For Terra, we have actually completely postponed any orders or deliveries just because of this situation with Stiora. And the reason why is because for Terra, cities in Croatia and globally are usually not buying 1 or 2 units, but they actually have public tenders. Only this year in Croatia, we know that there were at least 4 or 5 tenders, each worth more than 1 million kunas. for waste containers such as ours, and we really didn't want it to apply on these tenders because we were aware that we cannot deliver on time. It wouldn't be reasonable from our side to do it, and we actually tried to manage the same expectation from our partners, and we really wanted to postpone situation with Terra. Regarding diaries, the sales actually started last month, and the good thing with Iris is the measuring air quality is a complex thing, but there is much less parts and much less electronics compared to Steora and to Terra. And already now the deliveries are around 4 to 6 weeks from the order date. So that's pretty good. And we already have some of our partners in pipeline for demo units for the next year to start showing off to their customers. So I think that with Iris, we are already okay regarding the time of delivery. And yeah, we will see how this product is going to develop through the next year. I think, and if you read our financial promotion, air quality monitoring, or better to say outdoor air quality monitoring, is probably one of the biggest markets compared to other products that we have in our portfolio. Obviously, yeah, there are a lot of companies producing similar devices. Some of them are on the market for more than 10 years. And I know that some people are questioning about how and why we actually believe that we can sell this compared to all these other companies. Well, I would actually connect this with the story that I mentioned before. And it is, I think that we have actually find a way how with our products we can approach in the same time to really small municipalities and to big cities, and to make it really simple for anybody to use this product, to integrate this product in their smart city portfolio with our platform or without it. And what's more important with Iris is that we have introduced some features that our competitors don't have at the moment, such as possibility that citizens can simply tap their phone with NFC or QR code and just get the air quality in front of them, so they can actually get it in the real time and they can actually understand this message that they are getting. And also, to make it really simple, every company that does the air quality provides some kind of calibration of these devices, because you need to recalibrate them every 12 months. And we really wanted to make it super simple in such a way that they don't need to have technicians to do this or whoever. They can just simply put the device in the box. It's shipped to us in a few working days. We do the recalibration at our office and just put it back to the customer. It's all done in a week, and they have a product that is calibrated for the next 12 months. And this is something that most of our competitors are not offering for the airs. And then at the end, there is also this price point, because what we are doing actually at the moment is we are doing testing with Croatian National Agency that actually owns the professional stations here in Croatia for measuring air quality. We have our devices connected to these stations, and what we are actually providing to our customers is, when they're buying our product, they can actually see that we did some kind of parallel testing, how our devices are working in comparison with professional equipment, and they can know that for the price that they are paying, they are really going to get a great device. And this is something that most of the low-cost sensors cannot offer. It's not a problem to read air quality for a week or two, but it's a problem to read it for 2 or 3 years, and that's what we are trying to resolve with our products. Yeah.
Very clear, thank you. So I wanted to ask a bit about the funds that you're raising, and not just the ones from Funderbeam. In the pitch, you also talk about applying for a grant, and that you're hoping to receive additional funds throughout next year. So can you talk more kind of about the funding plans, both that are coming from Funderbeam, but also what's going to happen over the next year?
Yeah, definitely. So as mentioned, with this, we actually call it pre-Series B funding, and we really see it as a pre-Series B funding. So with this round, as I mentioned before, we are just trying to close this gap until a bit bigger funding round. And with this financing, what we are going to do is hopefully go through these issues that I mentioned with chip shortage and resolving them and scaling our production capacities, as well as scaling our sales, and actually start really selling Terra and Iris, not only Stiora as it is at the moment. Regarding the next funding round, we have this opportunity with EIC Accelerator. It is accelerator by European Union, and they actually started with this in 2021. So this year, I don't know how much of money do they have, but as much as I heard, it's in billions of euros that they are going to invest in the next few years in European startups that are really developing some advanced technologies. And the whole thing goes in 2 stages. So in stage 1, you have pitch deck that you need to prepare, 3 minutes video and documentation about your project, your company, how does it differs from competitors, and it's a lot about technology. Actually, they really want to understand the technology and everything about it. And then if you are approved in stage 1, you go to the second stage, which is actually the final stage, where you need, through their platform, you need to create a full business plan, and you have a pitch in Brussels in front of their commission. And then after this second stage, if you are approved, you can get up to 15 million euros in investment, and you can also get one part in the grant. So what we did is we applied for 5 million euros in investment and 500,000 euros in grant. We actually were approved in stage 1. It was 2 months ago now. We had 4 evaluators, and 3 out of 4 gave us a green light for second stage. And we are now preparing the second stage. They still didn't give the exact cutoff dates for applying the second stage for the next year, but we already heard that it should be January or February, a first cutoff date, and then they are going to have 2 more through the next year. So maybe we are going to even catch up the first one. If not, we are going to focus on the second or third. The good thing is that if in second stage you are not approved to get the investment, the evaluators actually give you their full feedback, what needs to be done and approved, and then you can apply again in the next date that is available. So it's probably going to be every 3 or 4 months, something like that. And beside that, we are exploring some other options for the next funding round this year, especially after the Iris introduction. We were approached by several VCs that are usually investing in A or B funding rounds. And these VCs did show some kind of initial interest to learn more about our company. We had 2 or 3 calls with some of them. The thing is that most of them are expecting to have at least 150, maybe 200,000 euros in monthly revenue. It doesn't need to be monthly recurring revenue, but this needs to be some kind of an average in the last 3 or 4 months of the company's operations. So I think that with this pre-Series B funding now, what we should really focus on is how to reach to these numbers, because already this year and in the previous years, especially in 2018, we had months where we could make more than 100, even up to 150,000 euros in revenues. So to reach the number is not a problem, but to reach it every month is a bit different story. So I hope that with all these new solutions, we can actually get to that point. And I really wouldn't remove from as one of the options. I really see maybe connecting with bigger companies that are already playing in similar field, maybe not as an option to buy Include, but actually as option to invest in our company. And I mean, there are, even here in Croatia and nearby countries, some really interesting companies that are maybe not in the smart city industry, but they are really, really close to the smart city industry. And it's obvious that they are now trying to enter that market as well. And I think that we could be pretty good fit for them. either to work together or maybe to receive investment from them. So yeah, these are some of the plans for the next year.
All right. Well, since we're soon going to approach kind of going over an hour talking about Include, I just want to ask about kind of close with the vision of Include and really what the long-term goal is, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years down the line. Where do you see Include being in that kind of future?
Yeah, when it comes to the vision and mission, I was thinking maybe, I don't know, last 6 or 7 years, I don't think that we had a completely clear picture of what our vision or missions are. But I think that from the last year, we really have a clear picture of what this company is and what we are doing. And in the past few months on our web and on our social media accounts, and even in this latest financial promotion, you could actually see that we are always talking how we really want to make municipalities a better place to live in with our products. And I think that this really now is our mission, to really make the lives of us as a citizens better through the products that we are developing. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I can even see how my life is changing with our products, because I'm also using these benches when my phone is empty or when I want to recharge my e-scooter or e-bike. And I really want to know, because of my family or somebody else, about air quality in my city. So Solin, where I live, we actually had 0 public air quality stations. We now have the two that we produced and installed them just to make some kind of measurements. And it's really cool to know the air quality in front of the office in the morning when you get to the office, and afternoon when you go home. And the same goes with Terra. But I really think that we are not stopping only on these solutions. We have some pretty cool ideas for the products that can really make our lives easier, but in the same time really do have additional value for the citizens and for the cities and municipalities. Because at the end of the day, it's this market is a bit tricky. The users are us citizens, but the customers are not citizens. Are actually, maybe they are, because we are all paying to the city's budgets and different things, but cities and municipalities are the ones who are buying our products. And what we really had to make with our products, and why we wanted to change the old Stiora benches to this new model, is we had first of all to provide some clear value to our customers, to cities and municipalities, that can in the same time be connected with how we can actually improve lives of the citizens. And this is the combination that needs to be in the products. And this is something that I really think that we have with our products now. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ivan. I think this was a lovely presentation. Before we close, I would just like to remind everyone that obviously Include is still raising funds right now. You can go to Funderbeam and check out how the traction is going, and you can indicate there. We would also like to remind you that, as with all early stage companies and really investment opportunities, that there's a certain amount of risk involved. So please do read the risk disclosure statement. But also, if you have any other questions, please feel free to drop these on the discussion board. Ivan has been very active with answering these questions, and we encourage you to ask more. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ivan, and wishing you all a nice evening.
Thanks. Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.